Twilight Zone Old Peking. This is a morning grind edition. We're rolling heavy up on the yard this morning, and the camera is shaking like it's bacon in the skillet. Don't you kill it. All right. Uh, so I just gave a short transmission, 12 minutes long, beautiful spring message, which I'm going to go back and rename uh, a beautiful spring message from the spirit realm, where I was discussing one of Rudolf Steiner's lectures and I was connecting it to my own personal experience with gardening and the natural environment. Really a lot of fun, quite interesting. So make sure you go and check that out when you get a chance later and hit the thumbs up if you would. I really appreciate that. And leave me a comment as well. Tell me what you think about your connection with the spirit realm and your experience with gardening and planting in the springtime, tilling the land. Whether you, hey, look, Monsieur Tiedrich's out there in Happy Land. Greetings, welcome. How's the sound quality? How's the image quality? Are we doing all right today? I'm well, sir. Very good. We've got beautiful spring weather today. Everyone in the capital is rejoicing. Gas prices are especially low. All of the grocery stores are stocked with food. We got a new oil deal. The Chinese have made an oil deal because since the Americans are boycotting Russian petroleum, the Chinese have just decided to go ahead and grab it all up for pennies on the dollar. So we've got new petroleum deals and power deals coming in with the Ruskies. Hunter Biden, of course, he's making the money over here in China. He's building new mini mansions here across from my academy so that he can prey on the young, good looking 15-year-old Chinese girls in high school. Thank you, Jeff. I'm praying for you as well. Jeff says, most I'm praying for you and your family. Hopefully they don't shut down your city, Frank. Capital, and they're reasserting their authority that Beijing is the seat of power in China. Shanghai, they play games down there internationally because they're the greatest port capacity in China, and so they engage in philandering with the international community and making backdoor deals that the capital doesn't necessarily approve. So occasionally, the capital here in the north, what we call the northern capital, have to go down there and assert their authority and remind them who's in control of the situation over here. And yeah, so that's just the situation down there. I've been trying to contact expats and friends down in that area, and I haven't received any response. So as far as I can tell, that lockdown is legitimate. There is certainly something afoot in Big Trouble in Little China, right? We need, was that Kurt Russell? Is the one who did that? That was such a wonderful film. God, what a 1980s masterpiece. If you haven't seen it, definitely watch it. Big Trouble in Little China. Yeah, I hear it's bad down there. All my expat friends who said, "Oh yeah, uh, Shanghai is a more international city. We're more upbeat. We can get this, that, and the other thing." I was like, "Yeah, you can, I guess. You guys better watch your back down there in Shanghai because that's the seat of the contradictory power base." So that's old guard being shown the numbers. There's a ton of people throwing themselves off apartment buildings, crying all night, no food. It's terrible. Please be safe. Yeah, that sounds like a tragedy, man. That's a humanitarian crisis. If that's really what's going on, good God, what a crock. Um, the soul cries out for the destruction of tyranny. You guys better get your situation back home under control as well, because that's what's coming down the pike, I guess. If folks feel like they can challenge the central authority from Twilight's own old Peking and Saber Rattle and all of that other stuff. Man, they're really messing with a hornet's nest. When the American people stood by and allowed an agent of Beijing to be installed into a puppet government, Beijing Biden and son Hunter, literally coming over here in the mid teens, 2013, 14, 15, and taking billions of dollars in funny money from the seat of government over here. That's when shit went south real fast. And so they just stood by and let it happen. They're like, oh, yeah, Mr. Joe, he's our man. Get yourself a cup of Joe, fresh and tasty. And they let that happen when there was one guy on the stage at the time trying to support the American people and trying to thwart globalism and the criminal empire in government. Mr. T, Orange Man Bad, and everybody shook their fist at him and disowned friends and family if you supported a genuine American that was trying to roll out Americana and Old Glory and give the power back to the people, give you your land rights back, trying to thwart the guys taking your water rights. And you said, we don't want that horsey, happy horse shit. We want transhumanism. We want globalism. We want the Chinese to take over, right? And so we said, we're going to fuck the USA. And in Chinese, we say, Huogai, which means you deserve it. You get what you pay for. And it's a just dessert, man. It's a just dessert to sell out the presidency and to an agent of a foreign nation with clear ties, then I mean it's sad. And Obama rolling out the other day, doing his little dance, shaking his ass, being like, "I've been behind the curtain the whole time. Me and my trans wife." Yeah, it's just bullshit, man. So I mean, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Right? Get your own backyard in order before you start shaking your fist at your neighbor. We keep it all clean and tight over here. I heard there's a guy who does a lot of commentary on Chinese society and life. And yeah, I saw that. I was just, I mean, it's not that. It goes all the way back to the Clinton administration, the very first Clinton administration, 1992. That's when it went down. That's when they were doing deals with the universities over here and teaching them how to make nuclear reactors and weaponizing uranium and setting up literally 100% mainland China owned compounds in Southern California, Irvine, Monterey Park, Alhambra. Uh, the list goes on and on and on. That's when they sold it out. At least for this latest rollout, these plans were made 28 years ago. Wait, 8 and 22, right? The warning signs have been there, and people have stuck their head in the sand and chosen to ignore it. I rode the wake. I knew what was coming. I knew that it was imperative when I was a teenager that I start learning the Chinese language and get my ass over here and study and figure out what was going on. Why was all of the money going west from California to Beijing? Why was it happening like that? Why were they setting up a new power center in Asia? Why were they bolstering the Chinese Navy and at the same time dismantling the American one? Why were they letting the Chinese take over ports, the Suez Canal, the Panama Canal? Let's see. Okay, so Monsieur Tiedrick says, do you believe that Klaus Schwab is in control? Alex Jones believes the World Economic Forum, led by Klaus Schwab, is the man in control of the planet. Nah, I don't think there's any single man. There's a conspiracy of men. They've got a mastermind group at the top. Schwab's probably on it. There's a guy that's got a website here on YouTube that clearly delineates that it's the Swiss Nazis, the Octagon. They're the ones still in control of the situation on planet Earth. So from their what is it called? The Eagle Nest in Switzerland, Swissy. So it's the Swissies. That's where the seat of power is. Putin's kids are over there in Swissyland. Anybody with uh, any one single individual never has been, never will be. It's a demonic force that Rudolf Steiner predicted over 100 years ago, known as Ahriman. And it's like people want to point the finger at Satan, right? Shaitan. But Shaitan has he has relinquished his throne to Ahriman. So it's the Ahrimanic agenda. Transhumanism, gender fluidity, none of it makes any fucking logical sense. It that which goes against nature will certainly fail. And that's all there is to it. You go against the natural way, you denounce God, really? And call yourself an atheist and a monkey man? Really? I just dropped a video yesterday that clearly exposes the farce of the missing link. It documents all of the fraud. So you can check it out if you want. I mean, people can choose to buy into whatever they choose to buy into. But if a message is put out there and it's not allowed to contradict it, if you can't contradict a certain message, if all voices that give a contrary opinion to what you say and believe are silenced, then you could see there's something wrong with it. Any given message, any given theory or narrative should be able to stand up to cross-examination. And if you can't verify your message under cross-examination, then it's obviously false. It's a spiritual battle, man. You should know what's going on, T-Drick. It's a spiritual battle for the hearts and minds of man. If you can convince people that they descended from monkeyhood, that at their greatest state they were a Sasquatch-like individual running around in the woods, and that it all started with a Big Bang. If you can convince people of that, then you can convince them of anything. All right, you can lower them to not only a random creation of a cosmos in chaos, you can make them insignificant. And so if you're insignificant, what does it matter? You know, if you ascribe to the doctrine of nihilism and denounce the creator, what does it fucking matter if they put you in a camp and liquidate you, right? What do you got to live for anyway? Why are you keeping on the good fight if there's no point in it? That's my question for you, sir. If you have no spiritual life, if that's all there is, then why should it matter? Why should your consciousness be important? Your uniqueness, right? You're not unique. You're just a meat suit, as they say. I hate it when people use that expression. I hear it among the spiritual community, the New Agers, all the time. And they're like, oh, the meat suit, the Dharma vehicle of Buddhism. It's so putrid and erroneous. We have a divine heritage, Jeff. That's the thing. And even if we don't, then it doesn't matter, right? So it's a big do about nothing. But you'd have to put some fucking interesting statistics before me to make me buy into the idea that scientific materialism has it all figured out, because it doesn't. Yeah, that's such trash talk. It's just another way to demean human life. If you read that can protect you on Earth, um, Yeah, there's a lot of subterfuge out there. I told you guys, the Department of a Harmonious Society made the announcement in February. They said we're rolling out a new program called March Mandates. Misinformation, disinformation, and malinformation. They're going to be leading it up, just like they did the crack cocaine distribution in the 1980s. They're going to be leading the charge on poisoning the minds of the youth. Tiedrick, that's complete sci-fi fantasy. No, human beings are sui generis. We manifest from a spiritual reality. We come out of the nothingness of the mysterious mother. We're the heaven-born creation of the celestials. And we running around in UFOs, splicing what? Their DNA with monkey DNA and then coming up with this. We are unique. We're just below the level of the angels. So you've got forces in the celestial sphere. Then the ones closest to us are the Archangelai and then the Angelai, the angels. We are very close to the transcendent aspect of your classic winged angel with halo and spear driving the reptile back into the pit. That's the kind of ancestry I've got. You can be any kind of fucking monkey man you want. That's not my issue. But if you do that, then you make yourself a separate species from my heritage for sure. And that's fine. I mean, there's lots of species battling it out here on Earth and promoting various ideologies and belief systems. And so, like, look at this woman right now walking by. She's got a giant, like it looks like an Afghan dog, but it's a poodle type breed. No, I'm not, Jeff. It wasn't aliens, man. The whole ancient alien stuff, that's fine and dandy. I mean, you can ascribe to that as, if you want, but there was Mu, Lemuria, and Atlantis, and they have nothing to do with your classic sci-fi fantasy of aliens. I'm not going down that rabbit hole, sir. It ain't gonna happen. Not on my watch. Our ancestors weren't stupid people. Been an evolution upward, spiraling into decadence and degeneration, just like Sodom and Gomorrah. That doesn't seem to be an upward trend. During the 1980s, I could take a $50 flight on a jumbo jet, a 747, 2 stories with a staircase going up to a second story where you could go to a full bar and dance with a beautiful woman. And I took my rifle on board with me. Did no bullets, of course, but deconstructed my rifle, put it in my carry-on, took it right onto the flight with me. $50 flight cross country. That was the height of American society. Since then, it's just degenerated into a police state. And as long as people keep buying into that narrative of, oh, yeah, we're just monkey men, then that's what you're going to get, man. Degeneration and decadence. And ultimately, the big lightning strike from the man on top. I love y'all good looking, sexy people, and I will see you in the abodes of the future. Monsieur Tragic, thanks for tuning in. I love you, sir. I keep you in my prayers. Please keep my family in your prayers. As above, so below, as we wander into the abodes of the future. Good magic.